Alright guys, what's up? New deck profile today. We are doing zombies with the new support. I've got a new build with a few different combos at the end here. It really raises the ceiling of what the deck can actually do. It would be nice if the deck had a few more starters, but it's definitely cool to have just a lot more grind game and a lot more options, and it's really cool to be able to play more with the synchros than we have been able to in the previous few builds. The previous few builds have really focused on more so the link side of zombies and like locking out our opponent's extra deck with scythe and stuff like that. But this one is more focused on synchro summoning and a lot more grind game. So let me show you the video here, the recipe. We've got 3 copies of Shiranui Solitaire. I've considered cutting him a few different times just because his major issue is if he gets like effect veilered or impermed or something, it becomes really annoying if he gets ashed because you give him up off the board. So if he gets like ashed after you use him, your board is empty. You have no zombies on field. But I think a lot of his benefits outweigh that. Again, it's kind of like kind of a hot topic in the zombie community. A lot of people are actually like cutting this guy, which I understand. But this particular build does play him, and I do have some different cards to sort of supplement the fact that he might get ashed. We play 1 copy of Shiranui Spirit Master. This gets banished, you get to pop things. A lot of the new zombie support focuses on banishing cards a lot, so this card is actually better than it's probably ever been. And then on top of it, has a pretty good normal summon effect, which is on normal summon you can special summon a Shiranui monster from your hand or graveyard. So if you have him, you can normal summon this from your hand, and you can basically full combo into like Krishan, Hycliffe, Fibrax, Needle Fiber, whatever you've got to do. Next, we've got our best starter, which is 3 copies of Unizombie. This is legitimately our best starter in the deck. You always want to see them in your opening hand. Unfortunately, this isn't like, there's no reinforcements of the army for zombies. There isn't any, like, fire formation tanky. There's just nothing like that for zombies. So the only thing you can really play is Shiranui Solitaire and Unizombie. That's your best bet. You want to see Unizombie, it's just one of your best combo starters. But there are alternatives. Like I said, there's a lot of cards that have made zombies a lot more consistent recently. And I'll show you other things that you can do. We played 2 copies of Necro Banshee. I might bump this to 3 just because it's such an important card. Like I know sometimes having multiples isn't the best, but like Unizombie plus Necroworld Banshee is like just full combo, so it's really good to have. 2 copies of Glow Bloom. I was testing this with 1, and it plays fine with 1, but sometimes the grind game is just better with 2, and having this in your hand is really not that bad. Its one drawback is that it's a hard once per turn. Outside of that, this card is actually really strong. Like I said, especially in the grind game, it's really good when you can just drop level 8 zombies out of nowhere, and the whole locking into zombies thing isn't that big of a deal anymore because there's so many good extra deck zombie options now that you don't have to really concern yourself with, oh no, I'm locked into zombie. It doesn't even matter. The majority of our extra deck is zombies, so it doesn't really make a difference. We play 3 copies of Mizuki. This is legitimately one of the more important cards in the deck. It's really good. You want to send as many of them to the graveyard as possible. They're not once per turn. You banish, special summon any zombie. Super good. 1 copy of Gozuki. This again, I played with 2, I played with 3 different ratios. I landed on 1, just because usually you use 1 and you can just abuse it. 1 copy of Mad Mauler. This is one of the new zombie support cards that was in this previous set, Dimension Force. Basically what this does is it's a lot like Plague Spreader Zombie, but what you basically get to do is it doesn't really have an annoying cost. You can special summon this back from your graveyard by dropping a monster you control by 2 levels, and then special summon this back, and that effect is once per turn. You can only summon zombies after you activate this card. It always counts as Plague Spreader Zombie on the field, not that that matters. But yeah, it's pretty good, and it doesn't banish itself when it leaves the field, so in a lot of ways it's better than Plague Spreader, in a lot of ways in some ways it's worse, in some ways it's better, but generally I think for zombies it's actually significantly better. We play 1 copy of Shang-Chi. This card is actually really good, so when this card is banished, for any reason, hand, deck, graveyard, anywhere, if this card is banished, you can banish another zombie from your graveyard, special summon this card, and then when it leaves the field, you put it on the bottom of your deck. It's actually really cool. It's like just a totally free summon. And then on top of it, it has an effect where during your main phase you can send a zombie monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard. So it's almost like another copy of Gozuki, another copy of... It's basically another Foolish Burial for zombies, so you just fill up your graveyard with useful stuff. Next we play one Al Ghul Mezra. This is another one I'm kind of messing around with. I'm really focusing more on the new support. I could have, like, not played this guy, but like I said, I'm focusing more on the new support. So I used to play 2 Jacko Boolans, now I play... I'm sorry, 2 Doom King Balderoks. Now I just play 1 Doom King, 1 Al Ghul Mezra, just to like mix it up, try to play some of the new support, give it a chance. So basically what it does is when a zombie monster is going to be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this guy instead. So basically it's like it's a cool protection effect. It doesn't activate. It just it's kind of like a replacement effect. So for that reason, that's actually a really good effect. But on top of that, it does the replacement banish effect. But on top of that, if this card is banished, you can special summon it to the field in defense position. And if you want to, you can reduce the level by 1. It's a level 8, but you can reduce it to become a level 7, and then you can do a variety of other plays. It does not banish itself when it leaves the field. And it doesn't put itself on the bottom of the deck or anything like that. So it's just like totally like free recursion. It is a hard once per turn. But yeah, I think it's a really actually useful card. We play 1 copy of Doom King. Like I said, if you decide not to play Al Ghul, you just play 2 Doom Kings. So that's that. And then we know what Doom King does. We've done this deck profile before. Doom King banishes non-targeting. Whenever a zombie effect is activated, yours or your opponent's, you can banish a zombie on the field or in the graveyards, non-targeting. Zombie World will make everything zombies on your field and in both graveyards and on both fields. So you can banish basically anything. Also, when a zombie monster activates its effect, you can negate that effect. So you can negate, for example, your opponent's hand traps that are zombies. You can negate any monster they activate on the field, any monster they activate in the graveyard, as long as you have Zombie World on the field. It's basically a free negate, free banish, non-targeting. Then we've got 1 copy of Jacko Boolan. I still play him because he's a decent interruption. He's another one you can, like, if you really don't like him, you can cut. But what I do like about him is that he can help empty out your hand sometimes. Like, you just have, like, a Gozuki or, like, a Mizuki in hand. You can just throw it into the graveyard, summon him, and he's an interruption in itself. Now for the hand traps, we play 2 copies of Ash Blossom and 2 copies of Ghost Spell. These are both zombie hand traps. You can also play the other zombie hand trap, which is like the Ghost Spell. I like the zombie hand traps because they help trigger the effects of Doom King, which can be sometimes pretty useful. You can like Doom King and negate, like you can Ash Blossom negate something, Doom King banish something. So it can be helpful sometimes. Now for the spells, we play 3 copies of Zombie World. Obviously, it's mandatory. This card is really, really good. It's probably better than it's been in a very long time. Salamangreats just got a few things off the ban list. This Zombie World is basically an auto-win against Salamangreats. On top of that, Zombie World is an auto-win against Flunderies. It's an auto-win against Cyber Dragons. It's an auto-win against a lot of decks in the meta game. What else? Sorcerer. Their trap card is just turned off whenever you have Zombie World on the field. It literally does nothing. Their trap card, the Blackout. Yeah, there's a lot of things that are really, really good. That this card is really, really good against, just naturally good against in the metagame. And it just so happens to be the card that helps you combo off a ton. So it's really useful. It's one of the better field spells in the game. Next we play 3 copies of Super Poly. I do play a lot of spells / trap interruptions, and the reason I like to do that is because I am playing the Shiranui Solitaire, and there are situations where Shiranui Solitaire will just straight up get ashed, and you have to deal with those ramifications. So I play, like I said, a lot of these spawn trap kind of floodgatey interruptions, because if that side of your deck gets stopped, you have to have a follow-up plan. And the problem with sometimes going the very, very, very heavy combo route is that you just like it doesn't take a lot to stop zombies. Sometimes 1 or 2 hand traps will just, it doesn't matter how combo focused you build the deck, unless you are just playing a ton of dangers, there's really not a lot of ways that you can just play through 2 or 3 hand traps. It's very difficult to sometimes play through 1 hand trap, so I like to be a little heavier on the spawn trap interruptions. That's why I play the super polymerization. Obviously, super polymerization is very good in the metagame right now. It's probably one of the strongest like outs to most things. It is Despia is the strongest deck, and this just rips Despia because whatever the strong monster they summon, you just take that from them, and you get a free monster yourself. You get the discard, which can trigger one of your zombie effects, fill your graveyard. This card is really, really strong. And then we, of course, have a zombie exclusive super poly target, which is pretty cool. Next, we play Forbidden Droplets. Like I said, I'm focusing more on the interruption cycle. So Forbidden Droplets is just very, very good. It's good in zombies too because it can help you go second. Going second is not particularly easy in zombies. Forbidden Droplets makes that easier. If you wanted to, you can play triple tactics talents instead, whatever you need to. But Forbidden Droplets generally I think is very good because it sends for cost to the graveyard, and it can trigger again your graveyard effects. It can help fill your graveyard. You can negate multiple monsters. Your opponent can't respond if you send multiple monsters. So yeah, I think this card is actually really, really strong in the deck for sure. Going first, going second is really helpful. Play 3 copies of Ready Fusion. Super good extender. 3 copies of Ready Fusion, 1 copy of Instant Fusion. Again, the problem with zombies is sometimes you, like, for example, you'll activate like Unizombie and your opponent will Effect Veil or Imperm, and then typically your combo would be dead. But with cards like this, it's basically like a free special summon out of the extra deck. It's hard to stop. It's very difficult to stop a Ready Fusion or an Instant Fusion. There's not a lot of hand traps that can really stop that. So that's why I like playing things like that. So yeah, we do that, and we of course have the appropriate targets for that. We play 1 copy of Foolish Barrel because it's like a staple in the deck. We play 2 copies of Shiranui Style Swallow Slash. This is another card, like I said, it's sometimes realistically you will get hand trapped, and you have to have alternatives where you can just, okay, you know what, my Unizombie got hand trapped, I'm going to set this, and during my opponent's turn I'm going to tribute that Unizombie, I'm going to pop 2 cards, and then I'm going to banish another card, and I'm going to pop another card. So I'm going to pop 3 cards off of 1 Unizombie. So even though my main line of interruption got stopped, I can still do quite a bit anyways. And then we've got, for our last card, 2 copies of Rivalry of the Warlords. I play 2 copies because, just a cat leg in the way. I play 2 copies of Rivalry of the Warlords, just because 2 copies is going to ensure that you don't see some really, really heavy multiples. So yeah, 2 copies is the right amount for me. I don't want to ever see 2 copies in my opening hand, or even 3 copies in my opening hand. Yeah, so that is it for the main deck. Let's go to the extra deck here. And I'm going to show you some budget alternatives for some of these cards too, because people always ask. We play 1 copy of Albion, the Essence of Vanity. This deck is actually fairly cheap too, I forgot to mention. I'll show you some of the, like I said, budget alternatives to most of this stuff. But yeah, if there's any card that you're like, oh, I don't have that, I can't afford, just let me know in the comment section. I'll tell you what to replace it with. Albion, this is a tuner, and it's also a target for Instant Fusion, Ready Fusion. Just need it for that. This is another one, Sea Monster Theseus. Some people play 2 copies of Albion. I don't even see the point of that. Why would you play 2 copies of the same card when you can play 1 of this and 1 of this, and then have some variety in your play? Sometimes a level 5 is just better. You can do more things with the level 5. Sometimes the level 2 is better. Like, you got to mix it up. Sometimes different levels are better. 1 copy of Starving Venom for the Super Poly target. You can also play Predaplant. There's a Predaplant monster that's a Super Poly target. It's a fusion and a dark. You can also play that instead of Starving Venom. Starving Venom I think is very good. Either one is fine. 1 Draco Negro. Basically, this card under Zombie World can help you out pretty much anything in the game. It makes all cards zombies, and then you super poly them away. Your opponent can't respond. We play 1 Formula Synchron. This card is like crucial. You need it. It's one of your main ways to special summon, synchro summon during your opponent's turn. 1 Skeletal Dragon Felgrand. 1 Warlord Savage Dragon. If you don't have a Warlord Savage Dragon, a good budget alternative, Cyframe Lord Omega. That is the budget alternative for that. Then we play 1 Immortal Dragon. He's actually really good. He's one of the new cards. He's a level 6 synchro, and he allows you to special summon. No, he allows you to send during your opponent's turn I'm sorry, he allows you to send a zombie from your deck to the graveyard, and then his level becomes the difference. So if you send a level 8, he's level 6. If you send a level 8, he becomes level 2. If you send a level 2, he becomes level 4. But the point is, and that level modulation doesn't matter all that much. What matters the most is that you get to send a zombie to the graveyard, essentially. Another way to send a zombie. So you have Shang-Chi that sends a zombie, you have this thing that sends a zombie. So you have multiple ways to send zombies to the graveyard. And he's also a tuner. Also, he has another recursion effect, which is if one of your zombies is destroyed by battle and he's in your graveyard, you can special summon him back to your field in defense position. And yeah, he's just a free recursion card. Very cool. Recursion is very important in zombies. It's something that the deck lacked to a certain degree. So I'll show you the combo, but you basically get to do what we used to do in zombies, but now we have 3 or 4 different cards in the graveyard that you can activate the following turn and use to rebuild a board in case your opponent breaks it. We play 1 copy of Baron de Fleur and 1 copy of Shiranui Sun Saga. So I know people are going to ask me for budget alternatives to Baron de Fleur. There's actually quite a few. One is the new Red Eye Zombie Dragon. You can play that. That's a perfectly great budget alternative. And then we've got the Sword Soul Supreme Sovereign Shang Yang. This card is actually really, really strong in the deck too. Basically what this card does is it allows you, every single time a card is banished, you can banish a card from the graveyards and a card from the field. So basically pretty good. So we banish a ton in this deck. Every single time we banish, we can banish a card from our opponent's graveyard, banish a card from our opponent's field, non-targeting. Both of them are non-targeting. This is really good against like Eldritch. It's really good against a lot of decks because again, it's non-targeting banish. So it can be really helpful. It's really good actually against the Despia matchup because they have a lot of cards that activate in the graveyard, but during the end phase, specifically during the end phase. And this is very good because since it activates in the end phase, during the graveyard, in the end phase, you can banish their monster before it even gets there. So if they have like an Albion or they have a Mirror Jade or something like that, you can just banish those cards before they even are allowed to resolve. So definitely these two are good budget alternatives to the Baron de Fleur. If you needed to play it, they're all, I think, under $5. Shiranui Sun Saga is really good now because he can pop a ton of cards. Then we've got Crystron Hecklet Fibrax. He's like mandatory, but what's awesome about this card is it got reprinted in Ghosts of the Past Volume 2, and it's basically like, I think, like a $5 card now. I think if you just go to the lowest possible rarities with this deck, it's probably under $100, which is really good for a pretty competitive Yu-Gi-Oh deck. 1 Link Rebo, 1 Vampire Sucker, just got reprinted also, I believe. 1 Vampire Fascinator. This is a card I didn't do any update on before because I didn't think it was like enough to warrant an update. But this card's actually really good for going second in zombies. Like I said, you don't have a ton of going second options for zombies, but this is one of them. Basically, on summon, this lets you summon a zombie monster from your opponent's graveyard, which is like free, and then you can go either synchro summon, go up higher if you need to. That can be really helpful if you take their like Dragoon, not Dragoon, but if you take their Mirror Jade, you can take their what is this thing called? Phoenix Enforcer. You can take basically any powerful monster your opponent has, take it, summon it to your side of the field. You're locked in the zombies, but none of that really matters. On top of that, this card, you can tribute a vampire monster you control, which can be itself, or of course Vampire Sucker. You contribute a vampire monster you control and then target a monster your opponent controls and take control of it. So it's pretty decent for going second, and it's kind of like a generic Link 3, as long as you use a zombie, but all our monsters are zombies. And then we play 1 copy of Avenger Savior. This is like Vampire Sucker, but for going second. Basically, when it battles, you can send a zombie monster to the graveyard, and your opponent's monster loses attack equal to the level. So that is the extra deck there. Like I said, you can adjust the extra deck to what you think is needed in the metagame, but I think that's a pretty fair extra deck. I'm going to show you some combos now, because you guys always request combos, so I might as well show them to you. Some of these combos are fairly simple. There you go, let me just smooth that out. There you go. So for the first combo, I think we'll start just with our bread and butter, the classic combo, which is going to be just a Banshee and a Unizombie. Now, as I always say with Unizombie, you basically play 6 copies because you play 3 Unizombies, 3 Shiranui Solitaires. You can just do it with them. But yeah, it's a pretty simple combo. There's a few different things you can. Basically, what this will do is it'll do what the old zombie combo did, but it'll basically fill up our graveyard with cards that are recursive and will allow you to use them over the following few turns. So this is what we're going to do. We are going to normal summon the Unizombie, activate the effect of Unizombie to discard the Necro Banshee. This will go up a level, so say it's level 4 now. Activate Unizombie to send to the graveyard a zombie monster from our deck, and it'll increase the level of this by 1, and we can't attack with monsters that aren't zombies, but that's irrelevant because Zombie World will make everything zombies. So now we will send a Mizuki to the graveyard. So Mizuki's now in the graveyard. We've got Mizuki and Necro Banshee. We're going to banish the Mizuki, summon back the Nether Soul, Netherworld Banshee to the field. Now we are going to link both of these away in order to special summon our Crystron. He's of course very important and fortunately very cheap now. Activate the effect of Crystron in order to special summon a monster from our deck, a tuner. You have 2 options in this particular deck. You actually have more than 2, but you can summon the Mad Mauler or you can summon the Glow Up Bloom. So we're going to summon the Glow Up Bloom. We are also going to activate the effect of Banshee. You can't chain block because it's like a separate chain, but you can activate it if you want to on the summon of Crystron. But it doesn't really matter when we activate. We're going to activate this in order to activate a Zombie World directly from deck. So that's there now. Now we have Zombie World in play. We're not locked into zombies yet, but we're about to be. We're going to link away the Bloom in order to summon Linkuriboh. Now we're going to activate the effect of Bloom. We're going to banish it in order to special summon a copy of a level 6, I think it's a level 5 or higher zombie monster from our deck. Let me just confirm that. Yeah, level 5 or higher zombie monster from our deck. So if we did have a level 5, we could even play that, but we are going to summon the Shang-Chi to our side of the field. Shang-Chi has an effect to send a zombie monster. By the way, we're locked into zombie summons for the rest of the turn, but that isn't going to matter. We're going to activate the effect of Shang-Chi. She can send a zombie monster from our deck to the graveyard, which we will do. So with her, we can send the Mad Mauler to the graveyard. So now we can activate the effect of Mad Mauler, special summoning it back. This will drop by 2 levels, which will make this a level 4. Now Mad Mauler is a level 2 tuner, non-tuner. You can synchro summon, which again, I'm so happy to be able to synchro summon again in zombies because that used to be the main gimmick of zombies. Now we can summon the Immortal Dragon. Immortal Dragon allows us to special summon to send a zombie monster from our deck to the graveyard, and then its level becomes the difference. Now there's a few different things. If this is all that your hand is, then you should just send the Doom King to the graveyard. Like if this is all we have, Doom King is like the perfect card to send. That's it. You just send Doom King, he comes back in the standby phase. That's good enough. But if you want to keep comboing off, like if you already have access to Doom King and you don't need to worry about doing that, you can just send a copy of Mizuki, and then with Mizuki you can just summon things back and just continue to combo off. But since we only started with 2 cards, I'm just going to get the Mizuki on board, so that I'm just going to summon the Mizuki, send the Mizuki to the graveyard. This becomes level 2 because that is the difference, but I mean that's irrelevant because we're about to link it away. We're going to link away Linkuriboh and the Immortal Dragon in order to special summon the Vampire Sucker. And this is like the classic setup that we've got going here. Like I said, this is a classic setup, but we've got a few better things, which is we've got the Immortal Dragon in the graveyard. When one of our zombie monsters gets destroyed by battle, we can special summon this back for free. So that's like free recursion right there. We also have Mad Mauler, which if we have a level 5 or higher, a level 6 or higher zombie, we can special summon back from the graveyard and reduce the level by 2. So we have that recursion for next turn. So that's already 2 recursion cards. We have Shang-Chi, when it's banished, it's special summon. We have 3 additional recursion cards that we did not have in the previous combo. In the previous combo, we would have just had this board without all this stuff in graveyard. But now we obviously have all of this additional stuff in the graveyard. So now we go to our opponent's turn. We pass turn here. And during the standby phase, since we have a field spell, we can special summon the Doom King Baller Drac. Since we did that, we're going to activate the effective Vampire Sucker in order to draw a card. So we'll just do this. I'm going to draw the card here. And now during our opponent's turn, we have a few different options. We have the Crystron Hacklefibrax route that we can do, Vampire Sucker, stuff like that. We're going to activate Crystron Hacklefibrax, banish it during our opponent's main phase, and we can special summon a tuner to the field, Synchro Tuner. We will summon the Formula Synchron. That will allow us to draw a card, so we'll draw an additional card right there. So we've drawn now 2 cards. Now with this, we have a ton of different options. We can activate, so when we activate the effect to draw a card, we can actually banish in our graveyard the copy of Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi will special summon itself by banishing something else. Depending on what we want to banish, you know, there's a few different options that we can do here. You can banish the Immortal Dragon, you can banish whatever you want here. There's a lot of different options that you can do, like I said. Let's say we banish this Unizombie, we'll banish that to summon that. And now, again, this is with the Doom King Baldarok. Now we have a few different cool options that we can do. We have 2 different lines of play. This is a level 2 tuner. We have a level 8 here, and we have a level 6. So we can do 2 different lines of play. We already drew 2 cards. We have Zombie World. We did everything our deck wants to do, all with 2 cards, and now we have a few different synchro options during our opponent's turn. So here are the different options that we have. I'm going to show you all of them right now. So if we want to synchro into a synchro 10 during our opponent's turn, we can summon the Sword Soul Supreme, Shang-Chi. We can summon the Red Eyes Zombie Dragon Lord, which can special summon a monster back from our graveyard. So let's say we wanted to do Formula Synchro plus Doom King. We can use those 2, summon this, and then during our opponent's turn, just summon the Doom King back for free anyway. So it's like we never even lost the Doom King. We can do that if we wanted to. We can also, let's bring this back. We have the Formula Synchron and the Doom King Baller Drac. We have these guys. What we can also do is we can do this Formula Synchron plus the Doom King in order to special summon Shiranui Sun Saga. Shiranui Sun Saga has an effect where when it's summoned, you can shuffle back either banished or graveyard synchros, zombie synchros that are in your graveyard or banished. We have 2, and then you can pop cards non-targeting. That's why I really like this card. It's super easy to do because basically this basic combo will put an Immortal Dragon and a Formula Synchron in your graveyard every single time. So you can pop 2 cards non-targeting during our opponent's turn in addition to all of our other interruptions. So that's another option that we can do with the Doom King. And then we have our other options, which is our level 8 options right here. Oh yeah, of course, we've got the Baron de Fleur option, which is the Synchro and the Baller Drac. So we've got those options. Those are the level 10 options. We've got 4 different level 10 options available to us. Again, 3 of them budget, 1 of them obviously very expensive, 3 of them budget. Then for our level 8 options, we have the Formula Synchro plus the Shang-Chi. Our Shang-Chi will go to the bottom of our deck after we use it, but we can go into Skeletal Dragon. This card, when it's summoned, you can banish a monster, and then on top of that, if a monster special summons from the graveyard, you can target a monster on the field and negate its effects. So those 2 effects are available. Also, this card has a recursion effect where you can special summon itself back, which is pretty cool. So Skeletal Dragon is pretty decent. Yep. I'm sorry, that's not the recursion one. The other one has the recursion. The Red Eyes has the recursion. And then on top of that, we can summon Borreload Savage Dragon using the Shang-Chi and the Formula Synchron. And then we can target the Linkuriboh, attach it, and we can basically get a free negate, Omni Negate. So it doesn't matter if we do the Baron de Fleur route or we do the Savage Dragon route. Either way, we can basically do a huge variety of different synchro monsters during our opponent's turn that will allow us to do just a ton of different things, and a lot of them, like I said, are pretty decent, like budget wise. So those are our options for that play right there. And like I said, we drew 2 cards. We get to summon one of these synchro monsters. We also have like a totally full graveyard full of recursion. We have Mad Mauler in graveyard, and on top of that we have the Immortal Dragon in the graveyard. Both of these have free recursion effects for us, and then of course we've got Shang-Chi, which will go to the bottom of the deck. And of course, I forgot all about Doom King. Doom King will still have a ton of effects. He has 2 effects. He has a negate. Vampire Sucker will continue to allow us to draw. We have a lot of cool recursion effects, but that is the first combo there. I'm going to show you another way to do this combo. This combo, like I said, is very, very, very strong and very consistent. There's a lot of different ways to do it, and the more extenders you have in your hand, obviously, the better the combo gets. But yeah, this combo is extremely consistent. Let me show you this combo, but this time with different cards totally. 1 Mizuki and 1 Ready Fusion. The Ready Fusion could be an instant fusion, so you basically have 4 copies of that. But again, we're going to do a very similar combo with with totally different cards. So we're going to summon the Mizuki. We're going to activate the Ready Fusion. We're going to use the Ready Fusion in order to special summon. It doesn't matter which one we summon. Starving Venom. Not Starving Venom. Alvion or Theseus. Like, you can summon either of them. It's irrelevant which one you summon. But we're going to summon... I mean, for this combo, it actually does matter. You want to summon the Alvion. But for other combos, it doesn't really matter. We're going to summon it. And now we are going to synchro immediately using these 2. Summon Immortal Dragon. We're going to activate the Immortal Dragon in order to send to the graveyard. We are going to send Necro World Banshee to the graveyard. Now we're going to banish the Mizuki to special summon Necro World Banshee. And we are going to link these 2 away into a copy of... Crystron Needle Fiber. We're going to activate Crystron Needle Fiber, activate the Banshee simultaneously, just so we can get that out of the way. Banshee will be chain link, I guess not chain link 2, but it will resolve second. Activate the Zombie World. Crystron is going to special summon Glow Up Bloom to our side of the field. Now we're going to use the Glow Up Bloom, link 1, link it away to summon Link Kribo. Activate the effect of Glow Up Bloom, banish it to summon a level 5 or higher monster from our deck. Level 5 or higher zombie monster. We're going to summon the Shang-Chi again. This time we're going to activate the Shang-Chi to send to the graveyard. Since we already used the Immortal Dragon, we don't want to use the Immortal Dragon again. So we will just, this time, just send the Doom King to the graveyard. And that should be more than enough. Yeah, we're going to just send the Doom King to the graveyard. Yep. Send the Doom King, link these 2 away into a copy of Vampire Sucker. And right here, we're just going to end our turn. And again, it's the same story. We're going to standby phase. Go to our opponent's standby phase. Doom King will summon itself. Since a monster was special summoned from the graveyard, we're going to activate Zombie Sucker or Vampire Sucker. We're going to draw a card. And we are going to activate the effect of Crystron. If we need to, we can banish our opponent's monster or whatever we need to do. And then we can summon Formula. Activate the effect of Formula to draw a card. So we're going to draw an additional card. So we've gone +2. And now we can activate Doom King to banish Shang-Chi. Special summon Shang-Chi. We can banish the Albion if we need to. It's a zombie in the graveyard. So now, again, we have the same setup again. We can do whatever we want here. We can go into all of those zombie monsters that I showed you earlier, which are all serious options, which are right here. Same situation. We can go into the, if we decide to use level 6, we can go into Borreload, Skeletal Dragon, Baron de Fleur for level 10s, Shiranui Sun Saga, Red Eyes Zombie Dragon Lord, and the Sword Soul Monster. We can go into either of these two lines of play. We've drawn 2 cards. We have Vampire Sucker, we have the Negate from this, and we have Zombie World on field. We've done everything that we want to do in the deck, and this doesn't count any of the spell and trap and interruptions that we have available. It's just a very simple and very consistent combo that you can do in a multitude of ways in the deck. But that is the combo portion of the video. If you would like to see other combos with larger hands, for example, like 3-card combos, 2.5-card combos, stuff like that, let me know and I will hook you guys up with those. But thank you for watching.